Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the Day 3 update to the Chaos.Lich. And today I got to go over quite a few pretty nice upgrades or changes we made today. Number one is we upgraded our ES gear. A lot of your energy shield is super contingent on A, having ES gear for your chest piece, ES gear for your boots, and eventually, when I get around to it, I'll be getting fairly good ES pair of gloves, and maybe eventually getting decent ES on our focus slash shield as well. Right now we're up to 8k ES. I do believe we will be able to get this character well beyond 10,000 ES, along with we're getting close to res cap. Slowly but surely I've been trying to improve my jewelry to get res to get better and better. Eventually this should be able to be at least a 75 all stat line for chaos, res, fire, lightning, and cold, but bear with me, we're getting there slowly but surely. Now, as for important upgrades we did today that didn't really cost a lot but made actually a fairly sizable improvement, I would say number one has to be swapping convalescence to the weapon set number 2. What is important about this? Apparently, you can basically get full advantage of this reservation while it's on weapon set 2, thus saving yourself the reservation space to run a blasphemy aura without needing any spirit on any gear. You'll see we have 0 out of 100 spirit total, with 40 spirit being withering presence and clarity support for mana regen, and then our blasphemy aura. And that's our 100 spirit on our weapon set 1. And then on our weapon set 2, we have blink and we have convalescence. Now, the fun part about this is the idea is if you had convalescent on your weapon set 2, the skill has a keybind, so that way you can click it and tell your character to swap weapon sets and then cast the Val Discipline to then buff up your recharge. Now, the funny thing about this is it doesn't actually even do the weapon swap, so it's kind of slightly bugged in our favor. It's supposed to do a weapon swap before it casts it, and currently it's not even doing that. So we have full maximum benefit. Let me try to showcase this for you right now. To showcase, we just get the 30 spirit back. So I'm taking hits here, letting these guys chip down our ES. And I guess I could have gone to a more dangerous zone, but look at my character. I do not have my staff out. That is my weapon set 2. And right now, if I press T, you'll see it activates the recharge. It activated the skill, but it didn't force me to weapon swap. It should technically be forcing me to weapon swap before casting it, which would be a slow animation, but it doesn't even do that. So that's number one. We got extra spirit back, and we got a blasphemy aura because of it. Number 2 is I decided to pick up explode because I got the blasphemy aura for free. I was going to go jewel socket, and for right now, I think it's a choice between, do you want to be a little bit tankier and deal a little bit more damage, or do you want to have a few more pops going off in your character? And I decided if I'm getting the blasphemy aura without having to get spirit on any other gear piece, I think, you know what, I'll click explode. A lot of people were trying to tell me to do it, and I was like, no, I'd rather get pure power. But the thing is, I was always thinking in my head, I would have to go get spirit in order to get the blasphemy, and there'd be opportunity cost. And that opportunity cost apparently was imaginary. So yeah, that's a pretty cool upgrade. Upgrade number 2 we made is, I gotta give a shout out to Waggle. I think it's where the idea originated from. Maybe somebody gave him the advice and then gave me the advice. I don't know. Somebody in chat was basically saying, hey, you can force low life with eternal life. And I was like, yeah, that's right. When you get chipped down to low life, if you have ES, your life just doesn't recover. So it's a way to force low life. And the one way we can take advantage of that is getting a bunch of extra cast speed, which helps our quality of life for how fast we can get out our Essence Drain and Contagion. Really just a quality of life thing. Ultimately, cast speed does not really improve your single target, but it does improve your mapping a ton. A lot of times what happens if you have very slow cast speed, it's going to be a pain to get that Essence Drain out and Contagion in quick succession. And what that means is enemies can gang up on you before you've really got your damage out there doing stuff. And then you just get chain stunned and you die, and it's not ideal. And getting these cast speed nodes, honestly, is a pretty big win. Combine those cast speed nodes with getting cast speed on your rings and your amulet, feels fantastic. Speaking about cast speed, another reason it's so important to get this extra cast speed is I decided to add Doadri's Tenure into the build. We just have a 2-socket one here with 21 reduced cast speed. Ultimately, you'd like to have one with a corrupted percent increased spell damage and a higher reduced cast speed. This is not our endgame item, so don't go out and spend a gajillion dollars on a super min-max pair, because ultimately we're going to upgrade still to a rare gloves anyways. But it's a good placeholder for getting nice percent damage scaling for our Essence Drain. All right, so I think that goes over most of the basics of the gear changes. I guess a little bit other gear change I did is I upgraded my boots and my rings a little bit and my belt just to help fix res a little bit more. But outside of that, I want to talk specifically about ring upgrades and maybe saving some money. This is what I did for both of these rings today. I bought a magic ring which had decent res and then maybe a decent prefix like life or chaos damage. And then I did a greater essence of sorcery, which is a guaranteed caster mod. And the only caster mod you can get is cast speed. And then I blind slam for the rest of the affixes. When I was going on trade, checking the prices for rings, most of the rings that had the mods we care about were pretty absorbent in price, and this seemed like a cheaper way to get some decent ring upgrades for my character. So passing that on, I can recommend doing that for ring crafting. It worked out pretty well for me. Same thing with belts. I started looking at doing a greater elemental essence with a high res to slam on a second res, and then exalt slam for other affixes. I still ultimately want to get life and maybe higher mana on this sort of belt, but it's a step in the right direction. All right, I think that goes over all the gear pieces. I think my tree hasn't really changed too much. I didn't ultimately play that much today. We only got to level 84 and do our Uber Lab, but hopefully it demonstrates the change. And the one thing I will say is characters starting to come together pretty well. We are currently looking at T14 maps. We are, I'll give you a look at our Atlas tree here. We only have like 8 points so far. The Atlas points are really hard to get. Apparently they're tied to specifically unique maps, and they're tied to the corrupted nexus. You got to cleanse those zones. Initially when I started mapping, I was just like going straight in one direction, and it took me a while before I found my first corrupted nexus outside, or my second corrupted nexus. And then people pointed out a bunch of them spawn near the start, and we got 2 extras right out the gate that are close to the start. And then there's obviously more this way, which I'll probably go straight there. Just bum rushing those corrupted zones are how you get your nexus filled out, so to speak. Anyways, let's go ahead and find if I have a boss map close by that I can showcase what the character looks like. We'll do Hidden Grotto. I think we did that yesterday. I'd like to do a different map because I don't want to keep doing the same map over and over. Ravine. Hopefully this is a map that isn't annoying to run. Let's go ahead and find out. Do a Ravine showcase to give you guys a look at where the character is with our current level 84. We just got our Uber Lab and whatnot. This looks like it might be like an ultimatum. One thing, I forgot something very important. Before I finish clearing out this map, shout out to this item right here, Visage of Ayah. Epsy made me aware of this, and I think he said he got it maybe from Waggle, similar to the low life tech. If you are noticing Eternal Life, hey, I need to go, either you're in the campaign, you got chipped down in one zone, and you want to top off your life pool. If you swap this on, it will take off all your ES and allow you to press your life flask to heal your life pool up. Or if you're trying to spend your life down to get it locked into low life, you can put it on and spend some of your life. Now, with Eldritch Empowerment, that doesn't work. It just bricks your ability to cast skills. But later on, we may be dropping this potentially in the future. For right now, we're going to keep it, but it is an option down the line. But anyways, that's something you can swap on if you want to modify your life pool, like heal it up or top it off, which I know a lot of people were asking, hey, I have Eternal Life, how do I get my life pool back? And that's how you do it. So anyways, go ahead and give you guys a little showcase of what the character looks like in current maps. Get a little bit careful here because I got chipped down. My throat is fried and I just finished up all my water, so not 100% ideal, but it is what it is. I think real quick if there's anything else I forgot about, and I'm not sure there is. I think I covered most of the things that we changed with it. Oh, I want to talk about the future of the character. what am I planning to do upgrade wise? What else are we doing with the build? Specifically in regards to Indigon. If you haven't heard, Indigon is in the game for PoE 2, and it does basically what it did in PoE 1, except better. In PoE 1, Indigon said, hey, for each 200 mana you spend recently, I'm going to give you 25% increased spell damage. In PoE 2, that number is 50%, literally twice as good in terms of percent damage scaling. In PoE 1, Indigon was so strong, they had to put a cap on how much damage you could get from it. In PoE 2, as far as I can tell, there is no cap. Other than that, it has similar power in that it has some ES and has some base mana. But other than that, it is pretty much what you would expect from Indigon. Spend a bunch of mana, get a bunch of percent damage scaling. I am thinking this is one of the cases where it would be relatively usable for a build, is a character like what we're doing here with Essence Drain. Where we could just ramp up a bunch of cost, ramp up the spell damage, and then get a lot of increased damage because of it. Now, that's the idea is what I'm thinking. I had this listed for a divine. When I pulled it out, it's listed for a divine. So this guy went in and changed the price on my listing. You can check the VOD, but I'm pretty sure it's... I think that guy's just trying to scam me. Sometimes people do that where they'll go and change the message. But I'm pretty sure I had that listed for a divine. I know it's a bulk tab for 5x. But that's one of the scam techniques is they'll rewrite your message and just hope you don't notice. But that guy I think just trying to scam me. I'm pretty sure. Watch the VOD back. I hover over it before I picked it up out of my stash. I'm pretty sure that was listed for a divine. I need to get it on recording, I guess, as I'm doing this video. Anyways, as I was saying, thing about Indigon is there is some risk. I don't know if it'll just brick our mana cost too much where it'll just feel bad while mapping. That's something I need to figure out tomorrow. And the other thing is, Indigon is an incredibly rare unique. It seems like it's probably a similar drop rate to like Dream Fragments, which last league we all know how that went price-wise. It went up quite a bit. So we're gonna have to see how that ends up shaping out. Whoops, didn't mean to start opening a portal there. Various stuns. I think we're okay here. Heal? What the heck was that? Oh, the wisps possessed him. I was like, he randomly got a bunch of HP, so that was a triple essence that got a wisp. And I guess he DD'd or something. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, another thing I was going to get is this cast speed node here. I was just waiting for that level, which should feel pretty dang good for our speed. Oh. I'm like all over the place. I just remembered I wanted to talk about, for our character, you might notice I'm wearing a staff now in my offhand. That is intentional, and you might be wondering, what is this skill down here? This is Sigil of Power. What it does is it gives you a damage multiplier based on how much mana you spent recently. As you spend mana, you'll see this ramps in stages, and it's giving me a damage multiplier. Currently, right now, I kind of want to stay above 90% for Zenith damage to apply, so it's not as relevant for my current setup, but later on, we're probably going to be dropping Zenith if we're thinking about this Indigon where we want to actually spend mana on a regular basis. And that will be relevant for about, I think it's like 40% or 50% more damage, somewhere around there based on the level 20 Sigil. So an offhand with Sigil plus Lightning, cast speed is a good idea going forward if you want to include this as an extra damage multiplier. Another thing, speaking about damage multipliers, I think I mentioned it multiple different times. Dark Effigy with something like Envenom, where it would proc a poison, and then we can use the support that allows you to remove a ailment and then get damage multiplier with it. That would work with Essence Drain. There are other things we can do to add single target like that. If you want, you can add it in. I personally don't. I'm trying to keep it higher quality life. I'm pretty okay with this. Dark Effigy, I'm worried it's a totem that's just going to continuously just repeatedly die. I tried it once before and it just got one shot all the time. Maybe I'll try it again later on, but I haven't gotten there yet. Which boss is this? Oh, it's this boss in here? Usually this guy's in Val Factory. Maybe they changed his zone. We're chilling. Didn't have much time to have her wither ramp, but that's the T14 in the current setup of the character, what it looks like fighting, and that's, I guess, some of the use case of Sigil. It works okay with us currently, but if I spend down all my mana, I'm not getting the Zenith damage multiplier. Later on, it'll make more sense with Indigon. Right now, it's kind of quasi. I'm not really sure it's really worth it. Anyways, that is the day 3 update. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A bit of a shorter one because we didn't really play a lot today. Well, I say didn't play a lot. We played like 6 hours, you know. It wasn't a 10-hour, 11-hour day like it was the past 2 days. That's all I'm saying. About half the time. And yeah, we will continue to update the character. Tomorrow is going to be figuring out if we can get the sustain for the Indigon to work. But yeah, it'll be a little puzzle. We'll see how it goes. Another thing I didn't mention is I am continually updating the planner. It does include now the weapon slots for which weapon set you use. It includes our current gear updates with what we've changed. The passive tree has been updated for the current tree you're seeing right here that is showcased. And yeah, hopefully you guys like it. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care and peace out. Have a good one.